City Pulse News Team. City Pulse.
Welcome to our new headquarters.
Good evening.
In Toronto.
From Dundas Square, this is Citytv everywhere.
City Pulse with Gord Martineau. Beanie Betty. Toronto's News.
Good evening and welcome to our new headquarters here at 299 Queen Street West. I remember the first day we moved into this newsroom, May 4th, 1987. And I've watched many of our on-air personalities grow up right here, right before my eyes.
All the jobs I've done in this newsroom, I've been a studio camera operator. I've run the teleprompter like Marco's doing over here. I've been a floor director. I've been an assignment editor. Man, I worked on security, editing, videography, you name it. I've pretty much done it in this newsroom. In this Show Me the Money scam, the bandits know what financial institution the victim deals with.
Just a quick reminder, if you do come down to Indy this weekend, do yourself a favor and leave the car at home.
I look so young. I was about 26 or 27 here. I was speaking to my producer, and he was asking me questions about wanting to be a reporter, why I wanted it.
Yesterday, to add to the chaos, they shut down the lakeshore from here at Strawn Avenue over to British Columbia Road at the west end of the
This is so embarrassing.
Lori DiBattista, City Pulse.
Eastbound lanes over near Parliament. I started doing traffic, and David Onley was the news anchor at the time. Okay, and let's work on the 401 for you right now because we have no accidents to tell you about in town. I've sort of sat here watching this place change, watching Toronto change, because in front of me I get to see all the eyes of Toronto. More traffic in just a few minutes. Now let's go to the City Pulse Live Eye.
I'm Pam Seatle. I work at Breakfast Television. My favorite video is Me and Julio by Paul Simon. Now I know, technically, this shouldn't be included in a 1980s countdown.
I cannot believe my eyes.
But the video's new, so I figure it counts.
Can you tell how nervous I was doing that? It's been almost 20 years. I started as a volunteer on BT when I was in school, and then I became a reporter a couple of years later.
Matt would like to see this go one step further, and that is vehicle confiscation for anyone caught driving while under suspension.
Look at her. Recognize her. Cynthia Mulligan.
I started in the library. I was a writer for 5 years, and then I was a camera person.
The best place to watch the rules in Indy is way up high here in the stands. So you
I can still do it. See? Haven't shot for a few years, though.
How would you compare that to all the stuff that you have to carry for your job?
Well, I think you're carrying your fair share of equipment.
A still picture tells 1,000 words. I think a moving picture tells 1,000,000. I'm so happy that I'm doing what I do because it's something different every day, and I get to do it with a bunch of guys that I really admire. This was in the early 90s, I think 92 or 93, and that was the camera department at the time. Got Steve Bourne, Pedro Zuquette, Bill Atanasoff, Jamie Tumulty. Got Al McCormick too. This guy. This devilishly handsome character right here.
The team was so small. When I first started, there was another cameraman, Don Purser, and myself. The biggest difference and that started to delineate us from the other news stations was the fact that we did a lot of work handheld. We tried to make the camera the viewer's eye.
You're looking at a first. Canada's first microwave lie-by truck. It's over 30 years old. Being in the parking lot reminds me of a number of events that have taken place over the years. In 1999, major power blackout in the downtown core. We had to do the news from the parking lot, one camera, no scripts.
The lights started to flicker, the TV sets kind of flickered on and off, and then we completely lost power. There was silence and darkness for a moment, and then we did what City News does. We moved and we mobilized.
Good evening and welcome to what we believe is probably the most unconventional City Pulse newscast you've ever seen.
It was certainly organized chaos right here in this parking lot, and we tried to deliver the information as we knew it at that time. It certainly was unconventional and not the way we normally produce television, but I guess in a way it was really reflective of City News.
I'm about to find out. Oh! Whoa! Mom, I'm okay. Getting tasered was pretty memorable. It really felt like somebody took your whole body and put it into a socket and you just lost total control. You just dropped. Like, it was awful. Never again. We've been on scenes where, you know, there was still action going off and bullets were coming. We hear bang, bang, and we had to, like, get down. So it's pretty crazy out there some days. This is a piece of a pipe that basically saved a family's life. They were in their living room watching TV and somebody's spraying bullets in their housing complex, and the tap actually stopped the bullet right there. It really kind of reminds me on a daily basis, and I keep it right here on my desk, just how precious life is.
She was caught on surveillance video as she walked by that high school with the unknown woman.
The Woodstock story, Victoria Stafford. Devastating story to cover. Devastating. I'll never forget that one. Never. Or her family.
The story that sticks in my mind the most it was the Michael Sweet shooting. He was a police officer. It's one of the few times I sat and watched my story on the news that night and started to cry, because it just so much of it was wrong and it didn't have to happen.
It has to be 9/11. Because it happened on our watch, and it happened just before 9 o'clock, and we looked up at the satellite feeds and saw the smoke coming up from the World Trade Center.
BT's Kevin Frankish brought you the first images from Ground Zero in New York City this morning. Kevin?
And Ann, in watching these images, these pictures we've seen of the plane slamming into the Trade Center had an eerie unreality about them.
I hope I live. I hope I live. It's coming down on me. Here it comes. I'm getting behind a car.
It's one of those times where you always remember where you were, and we were on breakfast television at the time.
It's been our belief for 32 years that City News should not only be an accurate reflection of a day in the life of Toronto, but that our reporting staff should be an accurate reflection of the ethnic diversity of this city.
He was attempting to alert the occupants just before the van rolled, at which point he jumped into action with other witnesses. What makes Citytv different is that we're real. When I got here, nobody told me I had to change anything, I had to look a different way. I used to have an earring, I used to have a little box cut in my haircut from my hip-hop days. And nobody ever said to me, oh, kid, you can't look like that.
This morning, the Nikkei index in Tokyo is up over 1,000 points. I recall when I first started broadcasting, my brother saying, oh, you cannot be Mroskowski and be on television. You have to change your name. And I said, no. This is my name. I'm going with it. I'm not changing it. And this was something that was celebrated by the ownership and the leadership of the newsroom, that where you came from was important and should be reflected everywhere.
Whether you're an employer or a student, you're asked to call 952-1360.
There were no on-air personalities in Canadian television, or for that matter, that I was aware of, in American television, who had an obvious physical disability. I was connecting with a whole, how can you put it, a whole segment of the general public that really had not been reflected to them before.
From Fort York, I'm David Onley for City Pulse.